she's got such a great voice. Icelandic singer-songwriter Björk moved to London after breaking up with the group The Sugar Cubes. She's a solo act now, but she is a huge star, and her latest CD is called Telegram, and it features remixes by various artists and stuff from her own CD. That said, you got to have a look at it. This is a fabulous young woman. Now, I don't want to be cute, but just let me hear 2 or 3 sentences of Icelandic, because I don't believe I've ever heard it before. Just say whatever you want, just so I can hear it.
Okay. Ég inna í hótel í Toronto og ég alveg að fara að gera viðtal við mann og ég hlakka til að því að það hljómar eins og hann veit hvað hann að tala.
Wow. All right. Should I ask you what you said or not? Should we just leave that for those who speak Icelandic?
Yeah, I mean, I was just describing the situation.
All right. Tell me, I guess it's sort of hard to sing rock and roll in Icelandic. It doesn't sound like a language that would lend itself to rock and roll.
Well, I don't mind that. I did that, and when I'm in Iceland, I always sing in Icelandic.
Really?
And I toured both my albums debut and post, and when I was in a band called the Sugar Cubes,
right,
we would go back in Iceland and of course sing the songs in Icelandic.
Really?
And because we're not trying to be cool or right, English or whatever. That was never our target. But because I started playing for foreigners when I was 17, right, and first of all, when I started to sing, language would even get in the way. I would just be singing in noises and just barefoot, and language just wasn't truth. It felt like lying every time you put a word to your noises, Right. And then I kind of slowly moved to Icelandic, probably when because I've been singing live since I was about 12, right, but always written the stuff I do, right, and then I moved to just giving like hint words, right, just kind of almost like guide, right, almost like when David Attenborough's got the animal programs, and he's kind of showing you the animals, and he just is like the narrative, yeah, and it's like, here behind those bushes are turtles having sex, and right, that sort of thing, and so music is this creature that is 10 times bigger than me, and I've sometimes looked in the eye, but I've never don't really know it, so and language is good because you can kind of, it's almost like, like when you're driving your car and it goes, if you move left, you'll end up in Toronto, right, and so language is kind of like, this song is about love, and watch out, in the third verse, she's a bit upset, right, and then you go back to the love bit for the last chunk, and then I started just putting words here and there, and then when I was 20, I had been singing for foreigners for about 2 years. And then a band I was in called the Sugar Cubes got attention from foreigners. And then we weren't too keen on it to begin with because we were quite pleased where we were. But they started coming to Iceland and right, listening to us. So
you started to get famous?
Well, we just translated word and word. And then in the end, we got less shyer. And right, now, I don't care. Language is just bad for me because I'm a music kind of person.
What do you remember when you think about growing up in Iceland? I mean, let me give you an example. When I think about growing up in this country, I think about lying on my parents' dock and listening to the sound of the trees over their dock. That's what for some reason, that's the image I remember. What do you remember? What image do you have when you think about growing up in Iceland?
Well, the mountains are quite impressive there, and in Iceland, and the ocean, and I think, for me, I probably didn't, but it feels like I spent all my childhood walking around in the lava, on the lava fields, It's like black lava. Do you know NASA, they sent their astronauts to Iceland to rehearse before they would send them to the moon?
Really?
It's like moonscape there, you see.
Yeah.
Volcanoes and hot springs. Biggest waterfall of Europe is there. Very strong nature, but no trees. So I spent most of my childhood walking around between school, between my and just alone in nature. Sometimes it's blizzards and stuff, with my school bag on my shoulders and just singing like to myself, you know?
Right.
And that's how I learned to sing.
Starts another big riot. You blow a fuse, sing boom, the dam cuts loose, sing boom, so what's the use? Wow! Of falling in love.
Well, I was quite happy back in Iceland. I liked it there, and I was leading, like you can't even ask for a better life there.
Right.
I had a little house by the harbour. I watched the ship go in and out with the fish every morning. I had a gorgeous son. I was doing several jobs, but I love working.
Right.
You know, my family's full of workers and electricians and people build their own houses there.
Right.
My family hunts still half of the food we eat. Very self-sufficient. Car breaks down, you fix it yourself. Well, you're a coward.
Sure.
You're a loser, you know?
Right.
And I was being in bands and shoe cubes, making music in the evening, getting plastered on weekends with my mates, cooking. If we wanted to make a film, we made a film. We had poetry evenings, we had a label, put up poetry.
So you didn't feel as if the whole, I mean, you know, when you're a kid and you don't live in a big city, sometimes kids feel like they're missing all life, you know, that they if they're not in Paris, if they're not in New York, if they're not in London, they feel as if they're missing out on something.
No way. Iceland has only got 270,000 people. And all the people who leave, they always come back in a few years.
Really?
And I still feel I'm just on a short visit,
Right.
like a vacation or something. But and United Nations did survey, and Iceland stuck out. They asked the whole world 100 questions, you know, and you know, and 2 questions, especially Iceland, really stuck out. And one was, "Are you happy?" And they all said yes. And then the other question was, what do you believe in? And everybody said Allah and Buddha and Jesus and whatever you believe in. And in Iceland they said, myself.
Do you feel that what you say is listened to too seriously?
Yes and no. You know, it's a tricky question because at the end of the day, only my friends know me, you know? And if you look at a house, and on the inside say it's got red carpets and yellow walls, and I know that and my friends know that, but on the outside maybe it's white, you know? And all the other people only see this white house, and that's not a lie, you know. But you know, but my friends see the yellow and the red, and that's not a lie. The 2 things just don't match, you see. Right. I'm not a very talkative person. I'm a quite silent person. But when I do interviews, I talk and do it the best I can. And then again, I only do it for a week.
Yeah.
So I just have to put myself in that state of mind.
Right.
And I talk for a week like a motor mouse, and then I go back and I may be silent for a month.
Right.
And I have to make sure that I put a lot of seeds in there and I kind of water my garden very carefully for a month.
Yes.
But also, what's very important is that house thing I was blabbering about before, you see, that I mustn't confuse. I can talk about things that are very important to me, but at the end of the day, you're not my friend, and I'm not being here cold or sinister.
No.
But it's the first time I meet you, and I probably will never meet you again. But that's not bad, but still just being realistic about that.
Right.
It's like, I can talk about all the things that are most precious to me, but go out of sight of your house and lock the key and you're the White House here.
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
And then you go home and then you're all yellow and red, you know?
Right. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for talking. I think you're extremely interesting. I don't say that to all my guests. I think you really are.
Thank you. Thanks very much.